Hello, Panther fans, and welcome to the Panther Comms podcast with your host, Timmy V.O. Monday breakdown, a Monday in the box, and we're going to talk about the Saints game. It's going to be extremely brief because, as I mentioned on Twitter or X, however you want to call it, you can't. It's extremely hard to beat a team on the road in any capacity, football, basketball, whatever. If you're down a lot of points, it's impossible. And of course, you'll see here about time of possession, turnover rate, first down efficiency of the Saints, the scoring efficiency of the Saints. Our defense was supposed to be the strongest aspect of our team this year. We had our DC coming back. We had some quality players on defense, but we couldn't stop them. So again, we were playing from behind from the jump with a brand new head coach with a brand new offensive scheme that has tweaked things that Bryce has done over the years. And here we are. So welcome to Monday in the Box.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Whoa. Hey.
All right. So first and foremost, we're just going to talk about the overall team statistics. If you haven't seen them yet, 193, less than 200 yards in 4 quarters for the Panthers, and 379 for the Saints, and they put up a lot of that in the first half. We had 6 penalties to their 10, and normally we're behind the 8 ball when it comes to penalties in that regard. So that's a good thing, and they almost had 100 yards in penalties. So that's significant. We're seeing a little bit of discipline, but they had 13 plus minutes in terms of overall time of possession than we did, and that was tremendous. We couldn't run the football because we were falling behind, because we were making mistakes on both sides of the ball. The Saints were just doing basic shit. And I know a lot of people were talking about that first touchdown. What was JC doing? Well, first and foremost, you had to understand that we're talking about JC Horn. JC Horn is an extremely smart football player too. He's not going to have his back turned to the sideline, running in coverage, running with the receiver. If he's not expecting help in the middle of the field. That was not on JC. You have to read your cues. That's what my coaches always told me, especially in college. Read your cues, because the cues will tell you everything. Because there's only certain things you can do within the game of football. All right. And when it comes to defense, and this is what quarterbacks will tell you all the time, they'll read their head, they'll read their hips, their numbers, and they read their reaction rate, how quickly they come off the break or whatever. But a lot of times, what will tell you what's going to happen on defense and on the back end and the secondary is how the corners run with the receivers. If they're just straight backpedaling, and they're lined up shoulder to shoulder with these guys, it's normally man, of course, but the safety would tell you too. And if they're running with their back to the sideline, they're wanting you to throw in the middle of the field, because that's where their help is. If they're on the island, they're eyeball to eyeball with that receiver, and they're reading everything. If you look at JC, he's squared up, but then he turns, he bails on him, okay, and has his back to the sideline. He's expecting help on the inside of the field. A corner will never do that unless they're expecting help on the inside of the field, or they're just, yeah. So that's not on JC, folks. But that momentum on the road in New Orleans, which is extremely hard to play in, mind you, and it's a division game. This is what happens. You can't run the football, which is what cost us the game. Let's keep it real, folks. I'm not quite sure why, and I know Ian and Tommy weren't involved in this game, which tells me that Canales is not necessarily he's not too eager to run the football without the right personnel. He's going to go with what gives him the best advantage, and I guess the Saints they're just more organized. They play together extremely well because they know each other. Consistency is what we need on this team. I'm not even gonna go to individual stats, man. It's ugly. It's ugly. And Carr had, Jesus Christ, Carr only had 200 yards passing, but his efficiency was ridiculous. 19 of 23. See what happens when you have a quarterback, a stable quarterback that has played the game in the position. Never should have went away from Cam. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You don't cut quality players even at that age. It's come on, man. It's just yeah. Anyway, um, and Bryce, he only had 14 or 15 attempts in the entire first half. This is why you run the football, and the Saints were able to run the football very well. Kamara had over 100 yards rushing in the third quarter, by the third quarter or the second quarter, either or. Um, but I'm not. That's PTSD. I'm scrolling. That's PTSD. I'm not gonna keep looking at that shit. I saw the whole game. um, I'm so a couple of key points here. Defense. Our secondary is horrible, and I mentioned this on numerous occasions going up into July. The secondary is going to be our downfall. You get rid of Jackson, and you just kind of piecemeal it back there, and look at the results. We're bringing in defensive backs still, trying to figure out who has the right fit. Nobody has really taken the position, says Canales. We're in week one. We're going on to week two now, folks. And these teams get better throughout the year. They normally don't get worse unless they have injuries and some kind of a major disruption like we've had over the past 5-6 years. This the defense. Our secondary is horrible. Okay. Pass rush is here or there, but it doesn't matter if you can't run the football. Well, if you can't run the football and if you can't stop the run. If you go back and look, if you want to, I can remember countless times where the offensive line of the Saints, which is probably going unnoticed right now, they had a great game. From what I saw, they had a great game, especially running. They were getting our defensive linemen 3-5 yards in the back, bro. They were pushing them 3-5 yards downfield on almost every contact. And it's crazy to me how people just start playing out of technique. They start playing for themselves, and you can see it with how the defense was playing. They were just playing for themselves and not doing their job because they were panicking. There was a panic on the defense. Like shit, bro, we're letting up all these points. And that's a double-edged sword, So our defense is not obviously is not getting it done, but it's more worrisome than it should be. I guess that's the thing. We didn't bring in a new DC. We brought in some new players, but they were pros. These guys have been playing for a while. I saw a lot of bad techniques when it came to pursuit, when it came to disengaging with the blocker. There was a lot of bad techniques. That shouldn't be happening. Offense. Bryce. I'm afraid Bryce has PTSD. It's something. It says something when you're used to winning. Alabama, high school, so and so. When you're used to winning, and then you come into an organization where it's so fucking dysfunctional. People are so fake at the top. Fake. This is what happens. Bryce will probably flourish somewhere else. We never should have brought in a rookie quarterback into the situation without a stable coaching staff. Never should have done that shit. I'd have been better. I'm not saying I'm dishing on Bryce. He has the talent. He has the talent. I'm not bailing on Bryce. I'm not. But the situation that he's in and the demeanor that he showed in that press conference, he's not a loser. So that fucks with you when you're not used to that shit. Accompanied the fact that he had the highest hits for a quarterback in the NFL last year. Don't ever think that won't wear on you, folks. Don't. He's not used to the speed yet because he didn't get a lot of reps in game-like situations. But at the same time, do you expose him to injury? We never should have got a rookie without a stable coaching staff first. Anyway, offensive line, we really should have ran the ball more. I like what I saw with Chuba, just being a workhorse. We should have utilized that more. But again, I think that has a lot more to do with the fact that we didn't have the personnel to run the football. And you have a rookie tight end. There's a lot of things he has to read, audibles. He has to remember. I'm sure he's not acclimated with the playbook yet. Canales is a smart dude. I mean, they probably have checks on top of checks on top of checks on top of audibles. So I mean, this is coming back to him, and I hate to see it, but this is what happens, folks. When you have an owner that doesn't understand what the fuck he's doing. We have an owner that was willing to get rid of CMC, DJ, Cam. This is what happens. Burns, for that matter. I mean, what Burns have made a difference in this game? Hell no. But I think his technique would have been better. It's sad, man. Losing Luvu was significant. People are playing for themselves. There's no continuity on that defense yet. It might be 3 or 4 weeks before we see that. Clowney's upset, and I get that. He should be. That's secondary. If we lose JC, we're cooked, bro. There's no question in that. There's no question that if we lose JC, we're cooked. No matter how good the offense gets, unless we just absolutely run the football and control time management. I don't see that. If we lose JC, our secondary is cooked. If we lose Big Brown, it's going to collapse. We might be able to live with Shaq getting dinged up, maybe, but man, letting the Saints put up that many points, not running the football efficiently, effectively, because the points kept coming, because the turnovers. Canales was telling Bryce, "Don't do too much. If you see it, run it." That's what he's telling them, because the Saints were over under on a lot of route schemes. I mean, if you notice, if you go back and look at it, there was always a safety on top and a corner underneath to make those throws harder for Bryce, especially in those situations where he was scrambling and he threw picks. They told us, hey, safety, stay on top, and this is a copycat league. You will see it a lot more. It's almost like a Tampa 2. You have a safety on top, no matter wherever the quarterback goes, the safety stays on top because Bryce is good at throwing the football on the run, obviously. And you'll have a guy underneath, man. It really makes it harder for the quarterback on the run to have that ball drop on him. Last year, I think Bryce saw a lot more man. People didn't understand his accuracy, his capabilities to be an accurate quarterback. Now they know that. You're going to see a lot of that over-under coverage situations on particular players. They had that a lot. From what I remember, they had that a lot on Thielen, wherever he was. So they know his favorite targets. And Bryce is going to distribute the football. Unfortunately, again, you have a new offensive scheme. It's week 1. People are flying around at game speed, which is faster than it is in preseason. It's these, Jesus Christ, man. It is what it is. It is what it is. So we're playing the Chargers week 2, B of A. Expect to see a lot of Chargers fans, especially after week 1. This fan base is. I don't blame y'all, man. I don't. But I find comfort in understanding why. I don't find comfort in losing. I find comfort in understanding why the fuck we're losing. There's nothing like being disgruntled on the unknown. But I know, and I'm still disgruntled, but I can kind of handle it a little bit because I can predict shit. I see us losing to the Chargers unless we run the football effectively. If we can't run the football, and this is Harbaugh we're going up against, if we can't run the football effectively, we're screwed. And I noticed we brought in a couple more running backs, practice squad type situation. But yeah, if we cannot run the football effectively on the Chargers, they will run the football effectively on us, and we're going to get screwed because this defense has not shown me anything of a notion that they can stop anything. And we all know you run the football, play action, over the top, scoreboard increases on your side. Other team can't run the football; they become predictable, and then you can adjust your defense accordingly. That's what happened. Have a good Monday, y'all. Keep pounding. Thanks for watching.